Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. So today's topic is a trainer education titled Turn Your Weaknesses into Strengths. So recently I was actually having a conversation with another person who had been a trainer in the past, and we were just talking about like business promotion ideas and the topic of how to handle kind of social media came up. And I was saying how one of the biggest mistakes I see other trainers make is they will kind of use themselves to kind of show off their knowledge, and they do so more in a self-praising manner rather than in an educational manner. So we've talked before in past podcasts. It would be kind of podcast number 272, titled How to Sell Sessions Without Selling Your Soul. And then podcast 242 about Be Yourself. And we've discussed how in social media it's much better to teach others through your posts rather than just show off or try to be fancy or amazing or make yourself the hero of the story. So if you think of your social media posts, like when you post things, who are you making the hero? So who's the focus? If the focus of the post is you, that doesn't work as well as if you make the hero of the story or the focus the reader, okay, your potential client. You want to set yourself up to be like the old wise like guide of the story. So like there's the hero's journey. You want to be the guide to the hero's journey. You don't want to be the hero. You want to make the reader or your potential client be the hero and you are the guide. The reason why is it motivates them to reach out and get in touch. It puts positive motivation in their mind, and it gives them empowerment to kind of think they can do something. Whenever you post, so for example, I'll see somebody post like, oh, just bench 315 for 10. Okay, who gives, congratulations, whoop-de-doo. That's awesome that you can do that. It's more beneficial if you're trying to sell training sessions, if you're trying to get clients, to post about how someone else could bench 315 for 10. So rather than saying, oh, look at me, here's my most recent photo with my shirt off, just casually showing my abs in some weird way, like some weird pose that no one actually stands in. And who the hell has their shirt off in the middle of a gym, unless you're in CrossFit? But typically it's like, look at me, I'm amazing, look what I can do. That's not good. That is not the right way to advertise yourself, okay? You want to say, these are the things that I did that helped me bench 315 for 10. Why don't you give them a try and see if they can help you as well? That is a much, much, much better way to handle advertising, because, again, it empowers them. It gives them information they can start with. Now, sometimes trainers will be afraid to give away information thinking like, oh, if I tell them everything, they're not going to need to hire me. Well, first of all, you can't tell everybody everything you know in one post. Hopefully not. that would be a bad thing. So what you're really trying to do is show them what type of information is available. Okay? So one of my favorite quotes is, you don't know what you don't know until you know that you don't know it. So what that means is, out of what you think there is to know, you might know a lot. But then if someone presented information to you that was outside the realm of what you knew existed, it then expands your mindset to saying, holy crap, what else is out there that I don't know about? So by sharing information, not only are you helping them on their journey, so you're creating your guide role, you're creating them as the hero, but you're also exposing them to, hey, there might be some more involved in this. And I'm the person who knows these things. I'm the person who can show you these things. So that's the best way to do social media. So back to the conversation I was having with the client, like the friend, is they were asking like, how I came about with that philosophy. And I've been doing it kind of like from the very beginning, whenever I first started ever kind of like posting stuff, and like even just whenever before I used social media, like when I would just talk in conversation with people, I would never really talk about what I accomplished in my training. I would talk in a manner of like, oh yeah, I was helping so and so do bench press recently, and we were paying attention to this and this, and all of a sudden they were, in the last couple months they've been really getting a lot stronger. So like you talk about the way your information, your knowledge helped someone. So that's what I would do in verbal story, okay, before social media. So I've only had an Instagram account, I think, for like a year and a half or 2 years or so. Actually, I forget the exact date, but let's just say it's like 2 years. So, but I've been personal training for 17 years. So for the overwhelming majority of my personal training career, it's been word of mouth, just conversations with people. So when I came up with this idea, this philosophy, it started from when I was much younger. So now when you read books and audiobooks and listen to ways to market, they tell you that this is true. Okay, that you create the listener or the reader as the hero and structure yourself as the guide. So that stuff has turned out to be true, and it's a good way to do it. But I was doing it for a decade or more before all these books came out and said it was a good idea. And the reason why I was able to start with that was because I personally couldn't do anything that was that impressive. So when I first started training people, I mean, I was 6 foot tall, about 180, 185 pounds, and chubby. So I wasn't even lean at 6 foot tall, 185. Like I had abs and like good muscle belly. I barely looked like I worked out. I looked okay, but I didn't look like I worked out every day. I didn't look like my body did not reflect the effort I was putting in. And this is due to many reasons. Like I started very like skinny fat when I was younger, had hormonal imbalances, and had all these other issues. So we'll save that for a different time. So, but when I first started training people, I mean, I couldn't squat 315 for a single rep. I couldn't bench 225 for a single rep. I couldn't deadlift 315. Okay, which like for a guy who's 6 foot tall, 185, and you call yourself a trainer, those numbers should be pretty easily done. You should be able to do those for kind of reps. And I didn't have visible abs, so I couldn't, take my shirt off and try to impress people, with anything about my physical build. So I didn't have anything strength-wise, I didn't have anything physical-wise that I could really show off. So it actually helped me because I couldn't make advertisements, I couldn't make stories, anything. I couldn't use myself as the hero. And the reason why was I had nothing to show off. So the only thing I had was my knowledge and stories of clients and their results. So the only thing I could do was talk about what I knew and how what I knew may help the person I was talking to. So I was lucky in the sense that I wasn't really amazing. I wasn't really good at anything. I didn't stand out. There was nothing abnormal or unique about me in the physical realm. So it forced me to have to create a storyline of being the guy, not the hero. There was nothing heroic about me. So that really actually helped, was that I couldn't show off. So I had to show others. And that was basically my kind of start into like word of mouth advertising. And then when I got into actual social media advertising, I just kept that same philosophy and it grew really well. So if you look on our social media, we only have about 1,000 some followers on Instagram, which I'm very proud of because I don't use hashtags and I don't have any fake account systems. So it's 1,000 like real actual people. But in the world of Instagram, 1,000 people is like not that much. So some girl with a pretty body who just posts, selfies all day can have like 10,000 photos, like 10,000 followers. So my 1,000 doesn't seem very impressive. But like I said, it's not fake. So like for example, I know trainers who have programs, computer programs, that'll create fake Instagram accounts per day and then cycle them off and create new ones every month. And then those fake accounts are pre-programmed to like their own posts. So they'll make a post and automatically get, a couple hundred likes because they have this computer program that just does it for them. Or they have programs that'll follow and click like on any name or account they put in. So for example, if they have, 100 clients, they'll put their 100 clients into their program and it'll automatically like anything that the client posts. So that way it looks like they're following their clients when they're not at all. So there are so many fake things out there nowadays, and in fake accounts, that it really can make the numbers seem very skewed. So somebody could have, 10,000, 20,000 followers. They can make posts that get, a couple thousand likes, but none of it's real. It's not real people. It's all fake accounts and computer programming. So if you look at your account and you say, man, I don't have, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers. When I make a post, hell, it might take me all damn day to get, 20, 30 likes. Maybe something that has like 40, 50 likes feels like it's super special for you. And that's okay, and that's actually good, because if your accounts are real, okay, 40, 50 real people is more meaningful than a couple hundred fake accounts. So don't let the numbers of social media dictate whether you believe you're successful or not. So let your income, let your word of mouth, what is that? What do you actually get? So for example, I run Brutal Iron Gym. Okay, for the last 8 years, it's my sole source of income. It's the only thing I do. And our business operates and runs totally well. I'm usually I'm luckily enough, I have a waiting list for clients, online and in person. I have tons and tons and tons of improvements to make on my own in business. So I still need a lot to learn. But I've been able to successfully run a business, operate my business, make my living, and support my lifestyle with just 1,000 followers on Instagram. Because it's real. So that's what you want to focus on. So focus on being yourself and focus on being real. That's going to help you the most. So the title of this is Turn Your Weaknesses into Strengths. So my weakness when I first started was I couldn't squat, bench, or deadlift anything impressive. My weakness was I didn't have six-pack abs. I didn't have physical abilities that I could show off. That is a weakness. But it turned into a strength because it taught me to place the focus on my listener or on my reader, not on myself. So that physical aesthetic weakness actually made me a stronger advertising force for my own service. Okay? So think to yourself is what do you believe that you're not good at? So you're like, oh, I see people make these motivational write-ups and speeches and stuff all the time on their social media or their advertising, and they're really good at getting people fired up, and they talk all these fancy language, everything just goes well, it flows smooth for them, and you say, oh, I can never do that, or I'm not good at that. That's okay. Sometimes people will feel like, well, I'm not adequate to write something really fancy and motivational, so let me just copy the latest meme that everybody else does and I'll post that. Bullshit. Don't do that. If you go through Instagram and 1,000 other trainers have the same damn meme, okay, how is that helping you? Don't be like 1,000 other people. Don't be like everybody else. Be yourself. Okay? Some of the most motivational stuff is the real stuff, where somebody says, hey, I felt like shit today. I got no sleep, no food. I went into the gym. I did half my workout, felt like crap, and had to leave. But I did half my workout. I showed up. I did something. I didn't rely on the excuse of no sleep. I didn't rely on the excuse of no food. I didn't just take the whole damn day off and throw myself a pity party. I got into the gym. I tried something. Even if I wasn't successful at completing the workout, I was successful at getting my ass to the gym. That's going to teach me discipline. That's going to teach me mental toughness. That is a more useful motivational speech than some bullshit meme that everybody else posts. Okay? So your weakness, you think, might be, I can't write all the artificial fake crap that everybody else writes. That's actually a strength. Just write real. Write what really happens in life. Write what really happens to your clients. Okay? So I've had clients before where I post about 10-minute challenge like workouts, where I'll give like a little structure, and somebody will say, oh man, I was supposed to do a workout, but my kid got sent home like from school sick. I had to do this, I had to run this errand. But hey, you know what? I used that structure and I got a 10-minute workout in. That's success. Because typically, if they couldn't get their full workout in, if their schedule wasn't perfect, they would just skip everything. The fact that they found 10 minutes and made it work, that is success. So that's the stuff you want to write about. That's the stuff you want to motivate people with, is real. What is really happening in your life? That's what you want to write, okay? So you might not think you have the strength to write these super fun, like scripted motivational things that everybody else does. But that's actually a weakness of everyone else, is to be like everyone else. So be yourself. That is your strength. Who you are is your strength. Okay? Then we see people post like fancy recipes, things that are like, gluten-free, organic, blah, 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 that all taste like shit and no one actually eats. So they'll post these recipes that have these perfect pictures and all the colors are, popping, and it makes it look so appetizing. But you think to yourself, is like, why in the world would whoever eats like a chia seed protein shake made from an organic blended tofu? Ugh. That would taste like absolute garbage. And the only people who do that is because they think it makes them look cool to do that. So now I do apologize to any vegans or vegetarians out there who think that actually is a good thing. So congratulations to you. But usually that stuff tastes horrible. And there are still healthy versions of things that taste good. So if you see people post beautiful pictures and they have those crazy kind of recipes, and you think to yourself, man, I'm not good at that stuff, or I don't know how to write recipes, or I can never make my pictures look like that. That's okay. Okay, don't do that stuff. If that's what everybody else is doing, don't do what everybody else does. Do what's real. Do what's you. Okay? So sometimes you might make a post about what's the best foods to eat from a gas station. That's a more useful post than the chia seed tofu shake. Okay? So what do people really need? What do your clients really need? What do you really need? So when you find yourself struggling to eat, what do you struggle with? How do you answer your struggle? That, telling your story, okay, and again, telling it in a manner of teaching. So you're not going to tell it and say, oh, this is what I did. You can say, this is what I do, this is what you can do too, okay? So when we say tell your story, is tell your story in a teaching manner. Don't brag about yourself. You're not the hero. You're not the focus. You're the guide. So when you make the structure of your story, okay, say this is the best foods you can eat at a gas station. Like you can say like the best choice might be nuts. So every gas station has like peanuts or cashew packages now, so they can have that. Every gas station has milk. Maybe that might be a good protein source for somebody. Yeah, it's going to have some sugars in it, but it's better than skipping a meal, or it's better than them having a carb-only food. So a lot of gas stations now have like cheese sticks and like pepperoni sticks. So that's a good way to get some protein in. So telling people like, hey, here's some good healthy options that you can still use to stay on track, that you can get from a gas station. That is a much more helpful post than the chia seed tofu shake. So you might think you have a weakness of not being able to write these magical, fancy, amazing recipes, but that's actually a strength, because you won't get lost in playing that game. Who can take the prettiest photo? Who can make the most unique post? Recipe. People don't need that. They need what's real. Okay? So you tell real stories. So that's your goal. Is what you should do is to focus on helping others who are like you. Okay? Tell your story, your journey, and help people who are similar to you. That is going to be your strength. Where you are, where you were 1 year ago to where you are today. Teach people who are there today where you were 1 year ago. Just teach people who are in your journey, in your category. Okay? People who think like you, look like you, they do like you. That's going to be your best focus. So don't try to be some social media perfect trainer. It's going to make you feel inadequate all the time because you're measuring up to others' strengths. Use your own strengths. Okay? So what I think to myself is I focus on teaching the younger me. So when I was a trainer and I was starting out, what did I need to hear about social media? So you think about that's what I'm doing in this podcast right now. Is I'm asking myself is on this topic, what would I have benefited from knowing that I know today that I wish I knew earlier in my career? And then I'm sharing that with you guys and girls. Because that's going to be my strength. Is here's the journey related to finding my own strength as a personal trainer. This is the journey I've been through. And to save you guys from this stress. To save you from looking around at others and saying, crap, I'm not like them. And thinking that that's a negative. I want to share with you that I've found out that you being different from others is a strength, not a weakness. It's absolutely the best thing in your life to be different, to stand out in some way. You think right now you might be different as a weakness. You're not. It's difference as a strength. So when I first started trying to tell people I was a trainer and I looked like their freaking teenage son who's never lifted a weight before, that was a weakness if I were to focus on myself as if like I had to be something. I didn't have to be anything. I just had to be able to show someone else how to be what they wanted to be. I had to have the knowledge, even if I couldn't show it. It forced me to learn how to tell it, how to explain it. So by me having the physical weakness, it made me a much better trainer because I couldn't rely on the bullshit methods that everybody else relied on. Okay? I had to find my own way of doing things. That allowed me to be authentic to myself. That allowed me to be true to myself. It allowed me to focus on, okay, well, what did I really need to know for me to make progress? Then how can I teach others that? So rather than saying, look how awesome I am, you can be like me, then they say, okay, well, how? And then you go, oh, well, I don't know, I was just always strong right away. Well, that sucks, because now how are you going to teach somebody else how to be strong if you were just always strong? Okay? If you've always had six-pack abs, then you won't know how others can get six-pack abs if they start without them. So I always laugh when you see people who are trainers, and this is a little bit judgmental, feel free to kind of disagree a little bit, but you'll see trainers talk about like, here's how to get six-pack abs, and do this move and this move and this move. And I'm like, those moves are horrible, they don't really work well. First of all, six-pack abs are diet, not whether you're doing the perfect type of crunch. Okay? And if you do crunches that actually like have a contraction of the ab, you'll grow the abs. If a girl wants a washboard stomach, they're more beneficial to do anti-movement. So planks, anti-rotations, things that contract their muscle but don't cause a shortening, lengthening cycle. And the reason why is because then it tightens and firms the muscle, it strengthens the muscle, but it doesn't make the big bumps which they wouldn't want. So training somebody for a flat abs versus bumpy abs is very different training. How do I know that? Because I never had flat, I never had bumpy. I had to earn them. So somebody who's never not had abs is not going to be the best person to teach you how to get abs because they've never not had them. So you'll see them post things and they'll talk about stuff. Sometimes what they say is helpful and sometimes what they say is horrible, but they don't know the difference because they've never had to walk that journey. They've never had to experience trying to get abs. So sometimes if people are blessed with something right away, they might have that physical gift, but they don't have the gift of knowledge. And they're going to have a harder time learning what works because they can't experiment on their own because they've always just had it. So they're going to make a worse trainer for how to get abs because they already had abs. So just in that element itself, okay, if you think, oh, I'm not good at this, how could I ever teach anybody else? The fact that you're not good at it is probably going to make you the best teacher. If you were gifted with it right away, you would have no clue what it takes to get it because you've always had it. So what you think is your weaknesses, I promise you are not. They are your strengths if you learn to overcome them, because then you can teach others how to overcome them. So if you walk the journey first, you can then lead others down the way, down the path. Okay? If you just start a race at the finish line, you have no clue how you got there, right? But if you had to start from the freaking very beginning, and every damn step you had to scrape and battle and fight your way, you're going to know that path inside and out. You're going to be able to teach others how to walk that path because you had to first walk it yourself. So, don't look at what you think are your weaknesses as weaknesses. Think of them as opportunities to become your strengths. So the things that you don't think you're naturally best at, and you're going to have to work your ass off to become decent at, that's exactly what your clients need. If they're overweight and they need to lose weight, they need to learn from somebody who has been overweight and lost weight. They need to learn from somebody who walked that journey. Okay? By walking that journey yourself, that becomes your strength because you can have first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience. So, whatever you think your weaknesses are, I promise they are not. Dedicate yourself to it. Turn that weakness into a strength, and then show others how you did it. That'll make you an amazing, amazing trainer. Okay? So, don't get down on yourself on what you think your weaknesses are. If you think you've identified a weakness, then you have identified a chance, an opportunity for a new strength. Okay? Try your best to overcome it. And if you have any troubles or any worries along the way, shoot us an email at brutalirongym@gmail.com and we will help you. Okay? So if you say, I really struggle with this and I want to finally overcome it, I want to finally become my best so I can help others become their best, reach out to us, brutalirongym@gmail.com, and we will help. Okay? If you have the desire to help others, then absolutely we have the desire to help you. That's what this whole freaking podcast is about, okay? So please, please, please reach out with anything you need to become your best so we all can help others become theirs. brutalirongym@gmail.com. Okay, let us know what you need. Cool. If you like this information, you can find more from us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Brutal Iron Gym. Also, if you like the podcast, please share it with family and friends. The more people we help, the happier the world will be. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. This podcast is for you, so we want to know what you want to learn about. And you can tell us at our email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.